Oh,
Jeez, please.
whatever.
Can we just recap just a little?
Okay, so we do have, as I said, we, at our meeting last week, had information we needed to get from several different parties, which we have that information now. And the reason I called the meeting was we said we were going to have a special meeting so we can continue to move forward on this and keep getting the information we need, keep making any updates or changes that we need to make, et cetera. So I would see if we can, Vinny, I don't know if you have anything more that you need to add in.
Yeah, the only other item I want to add, and I did receive an email from Rex, the service side for Action Target, and he said that none of the items that we were looking at will hold up procuring of this makeup area on it. So we don't need to. We can approve the drawings, and then if we want to move forward with the change order for those 3 additional items, we can, but it's not going to hold up procuring the makeup area on it.
Okay.
All right, so can I interject here for a second?
Sure.
Because we've been going over the plans. I've been talking to Aon, and as of today at 3 o'clock, I'm waiting to hear back from Aon that there is a very good possibility that this unit could be used as the unoccupied supplement, and we don't have to add an additional unit. So we need, I have to give the people a couple of days on their end for that. Did they give us a price to what it's going to cost to, if we wanted to add a second unit? You said you got a proposal, Vinny?
No, we have a proposal for the design services only. We don't have a proposal for the
Oh,
actual.
Yeah, so it's MEP
Gotta be part of the
design
project.
for an additional unit. And how much was that?
It's $10,000.
Just to design it?
So to design, and it would be a separate unit. It wouldn't be the change.
Yeah,
This-
I know that. Yeah.
Something that we talked about last week. I think Jakunski Humes checked out our meeting recording, et cetera. And so basically $10,000 for Jakunski Humes, Colaronen with MEP engineer on this side to put together the plans for that particular unit and whatever else goes with it.
Yeah, so your minimum, that's just engineering.
Right.
And if you added a let's just say a 3-ton unit, by the time you get done with electrical and buying the unit and getting it hooked up, you're gonna be north of 10,000. So
Way
10,000
north.
Yeah, so
Way.
we're looking at 25,000. Let's just, let's wait and see what Aon comes back with us. They could, now I'm speaking very granular here. They could say, guess what, the unit that's spec'd, we add a couple additional things to it and you could use it to heat and dehumidify in the unoccupied mode.
So John, what you're saying is you've been talking to your contacts through Aon to get
Yeah,
information.
Yeah.
You've shared the plans and et cetera.
yes, I
Yeah,
did.
My concern is overall, and in using the info from the memo that Vinny put together, and we actually had that for the last meeting and I resent it to everyone, is that, we're looking at other than the range equipment and this makeup air unit, we have, obviously have to have plans completed by Jakunski Humes for all the infrastructure, backup, connections, et cetera, with Colaronen being their MEP engineer. And one of the things they pointed out were, for more recently, 7 different ranges that they've put together in Connecticut, all have that supplemental air control capabilities. they're right now helping with the Branford Police Department to redo their HVAC system for their range because it's in a basement area that's been damp and they have an on-off system right now and it's been causing problems. The other issue that we talked about was the sprinklers, and we're most certain, we don't have a definite yet, I don't think, from the fire marshal unless we did get that. But
We do
for the
have
most
that,
part,
Nancy.
we do have it.
Yes.
So the
Yeah.
area doesn't have to be
We had
sprinkled.
it last week, Nancy.
Yeah,
I
correct.
mean, he had agreed that it was required.
And it's a combination of things as far as we want to protect not just the space, but the rest of the building, since there's only I think 1 hour fire rated firewall between the range and the rest of the building. So sprinklers, yes, we could have a dry system, but is that going to cost more than what was originally designed in the wet system that would be then extended beyond where it's stubbed off in those back storage rooms? So there's a number of things I think we have to take into consideration. Action Target has insisted that the on-off would be fine with their equipment, yet we all know that that space is pretty humid. I've been in there myself at times when that furnace isn't running, and it is humid. It's been commented by Brian Humes and others how humid it is in there at times when that little mini furnace isn't running. And I hesitate as the representatives of the town of Bethel, who are the owners of the space, to who's going to be responsible for if we take that chance and just go ahead with an on-off system when it seems like most systems here in Connecticut do not have on-off systems. Any other input from others?
I don't know. I tend to agree that, I mean, my preference would be to still stay with one unit, if it can be done. If the sensors are done correctly. I think we're comparing apples and oranges when we start talking about, other systems that weren't working right. I think it's more of a question of, can we get this to work properly? It's obviously going to be a lot less maintenance, a lot less trouble in the long run if we could just keep the one unit and not have multiple different units that we have to service and take care of.
I think that's another point, is that if you have 2 units to have to deal with, it's different than 1 unit. I know that the filters have to be changed out more frequently. That'll have to be dealt with. I think in a way it's apples and oranges, but I also think that in knowing that that other systems have had, and obviously would depend on how they're built. If this building was separate, which is one of the things we looked at a million years ago, was having the building be separate, then the whole sprinkler situation might be different.
Right.
We don't know that. So part of the reason why I did throw together this special meeting was I thought we were going to have all this information, we could move, but we do have more information. We have more information than we had last week.
Yeah.
We're able to move
And I
forward.
think, Nancy, I think if we could, and I'm not saying to postpone this a tremendous amount of time, but if we could get those answers back from Aon as far as whether that's a doable way to make it happen, I do believe I'm very similar with John on that the putting it with the same unit, I think is I personally feel that's gonna be a better scenario than having a separate unit. And plus, I think it'd be much more reliable. It's a full-size unit. You'd know that the unit is working all the time. I just think it offers a lot of advantages if we can stick that way. Because I don't see them using it, I'd rather be depending upon the big unit, throttling it back versus worrying about this small one, which is probably gonna be more of a residential unit, being 2, 3 tons, 4 tons. That's just my personal feeling. I'd really like to see us, extinguish, at least get through the total, the ideas of what you have with Aon now and see if it can be done.
If I might add, the key there is the controls.
Right,
Mr. John
exactly.
Perna, correct me if I'm wrong, but if the controls are able to support that,
Okay.
that unit, and the unit can efficiently work 24/7, so to speak, then I think I would agree that I think it's the most cost-effective way for the town to go forward. If it cannot be controlled, and that's the key question as far as I am, my thought is
Right.
that can it be controlled to work that way? I'm not a controls expert, but I have enough experience in this stuff to speak a little bit about it. And I think that's, I'm sure John Perna is working on that with them as well. If that's the case, and it has, and Vin had sent an email out earlier about the status of the number of questions that we had, that I thought was good. Then the key there is that I'm not sure we need anywhere near the size change order from, or additional services from JHA. We just need to make sure that the sprinklers are identified and specified correctly, whether it's going to be a dry system or a wet system. As I understand it, the space is currently stubbed for a wet system,
Yes.
but I don't know if that's correct or not. Maybe Vin, you know.
That is correct.
It is for,
Okay. So on my call today with Aon, I put them in touch with ESC, who installed the original automation system in the main PD originally.
Yep.
And they were gonna talk to each other and get back to me. And I want to stress to you, Aon is a huge manufacturer. They're not gonna tell us to do something that's not gonna work. We gotta just give them a chance.
Sure.
We got started on this late in the game, you know? So let's give them a little opportunity. I will say, I had, by the time I connected with them, it was 3:00 this afternoon to explain everything and everything that was taking place. We got to give them a few days, you know, maybe a week just to get back to us. I'll check with them in 3 days and say, hey, what did you come up with? The gentleman from ESC was Rob, that was actually on the call, Vinny, from ESC, the last Zoom call that we had. And he seemed pretty optimistic that it could be done. These guys do this stuff all the time. So I trust the controls contractor 110%, and I trust Aon 110%. Let's just give them a little time to, you know, to sort things out.
so
I agree, John. I've been saying controls is the main piece that's required to make the unit work the way that we want it to work. A occupied and unoccupied mode switch.
Right.
That's been brought up. That's simple. Occupied, unoccupied. My only concern is we're talking to Aon. Action Target and their mechanical contractors already work with Aon to be able to specify this unit. How do we get these two now back talking to each other? Is it just us handling the control end of it and we can make the unit work, or does this have to go back to Action Target and they got to add a few more components or a few more bells and whistles to this to be able to make it work? The last meeting we had with Action Target, they said it will not work. It is not, this unit is not designed to work that way. And that's my concern, is how do we get there? Yes, if Aon says it can, we have to now communicate back with Action Target.
Vinny, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm going to tell you, Action Target is not an MEP engineer.
I agree.
You know, and there's a couple of things, I'll be honest, that I was disappointed in. We asked for a parts and labor warranty. They told us they can only give us a parts warranty. they did that because they went to Aon out in Utah. So they can't, because they're not buying the unit in the state of Connecticut, it's not like they don't give it. They were selective on what they told us.
Right.
Action Target was selective on what they told us. Because they priced the unit out of Utah, yes, they can only give us a parts warranty. If the unit was priced out of Connecticut, we could have got a labor and a parts warranty. So they were selective on what they told us. And they're not MEP people. I trust the engineers at Aon that they'll talk to the controls contractor and let's see what they come up with. Right now, we're just throwing darts. Let the engineers work it out and let's just give them a little bit of time. That's all. And if we need the second unit, that's fine, but we got to at least give them a little time in the best interest as myself as a taxpayer and doing the right thing for the range. We're spending over $1 million.
Yep,
What is a week?
yeah,
I don't know what there's times, and excuse the expression, I feel like I got a gun to my head over this, and there shouldn't be that way. I
Yeah,
mean, we're all working on this to try to get the right solution for the right range. What's a week?
well,
Let's
right.
give 'em a week.
And I think, John, I think you have to look at, in some of the stuff that you've told us from your experiences with even recently where you work, HVAC, we've kind of been trying to get things moving forward as far as ordering this, because you've told us how much lead time you're finding with ordering units, et cetera. But at the same time, we don't want to jump ahead and order something that isn't going to be what we need, and what we can function with efficiently. Because I think we need to look at two things, especially with the cost that somebody brought up earlier. If we have to do an additional unit to create supplemental air control in that space, there's a cost to install it, a cost to design it, a cost to install it, and then there's a cost for upkeep. And
correct.
all of those things need to be taken in consideration. If we're putting everything into one package, the cost for installation and the cost for upkeep could be considerably less because we've only got one unit instead of two. And I think John's right about looking at those figures and doing what's best inside the budget that we have.
Right.
So we do have a meeting next week on Wednesday. It's our regular meeting, the 22nd. And I am going to ask that everybody who says they're going to get information together, just keep pushing to get that information so we have it for Wednesday for the meeting. And if it's anything that's in a printed form, you want to try to get it out as soon as possible so we can get it to members to review, et cetera. John, I don't know if you can continue with your Aon contact to see if you can get as much information together as possible by next Wednesday.
I told them that I actually said I wanted them to try to get me something by the close of business on Friday.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, but I'm like I said, it was 3:00 when I talked to them.
Yeah, yeah,
So we got to give them a little time.
sure. And is there a difference between, if it's ordered and shipped from Utah or if it's ordered and shipped from somewhere? I mean, I don't.
No, it all comes from the same factory.
Right, okay,
It's just a matter of, did you buy your Chevy at Devon Chevrolet in Wilton, or did you buy it down at Park Chevrolet down in the Florida Keys?
yeah, right,
That's what it comes from the same factory.
right,
It's just there's Aon distributors across the country.
yep, okay,
Just depends what dealer you go to, and they went to a Utah dealer.
right.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, good. I appreciate everyone for joining in here tonight. Does anybody have anything else they need to let us know about, ask about, make sure that so that John's getting the right information put together and that Vinny and Mark can be getting the information they need through Chikunsky Humes and Kohler Ronan?
yeah. Can I just say one other thing?
Sure.
Did I understand that we got a little delay going on, but we also got a set of drawings that didn't consider when this is off or how we were gonna heat the place.
Right.
Right, right,
That is not our fault. That
right,
is not this committee's fault,
right.
okay? All we're trying to do is protect the best interest of the PD and the taxpayers.
Yep,
So that everybody's, let's just kick it down just a little bit of a notch, and let's just give it a chance, but there's no way that you're gonna tell me that nobody did think that that place was gonna need heat, and I'm not talking about us. But it is obvious it was gonna need heat, and it was obvious from the very beginning. Because they're telling us the unit that they spec'd wasn't capable of it. So we're gonna, if they weren't in the place for 2 days and we had 0-degree weather, we weren't gonna heat the place?
well,
We
right,
weren't gonna leave the unit that was in there because that's in the way.
right,
That was just a graphic, graphic measure to just keep the place heated so nothing froze and keep it tempered.
yes,
So I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm only asking for everybody to understand, to give it an extra week for something that was left out. In
and I
my
think
opinion,
that's something you asked for in the very beginning, John.
yeah.
Right,
So let's give it a week. I'm on it,
okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, everybody knows what they have to do, correct?
Agreed.
All right, I want you all back here plus a few others in a week, well, a week and a half an hour. Because we'll have our regular meeting start at 7 o'clock like we usually do, and hopefully everybody can be here, because we do need to keep having a quorum so we can make decisions, et cetera. Does anybody have anything else? No, good, motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Second, John, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.